And you're very welcome back to episode number 11 of our Final Whistle Women's Rugby podcast. Aimee Clarke and Stacy Hanley once again join us to discuss all the happenings in the Energia All Ireland League Women's Division. And of course, we'll have a bit of the upcoming Celtic Challenge semi-finals that take place on a busy return to action this Saturday, and some other bits and pieces to discuss as well. We are recording this on St. Patrick's Day. It is a day off for the two girls, and we have a busy day of watching parades and everything like that. Have either of you guys been in parades before when you were younger?
Oh yeah, with the school.
I don't think I was, actually. I've never thought about that. Yeah. That's a big surprise, to be honest.
That is, I thought you'd have been like, oh yeah, just what was that?
Marshall going up and down.
Just dancing some sort in the parade.
Yeah, I don't think I have, actually. Well, that's what I'm going to be doing next year. Great. Now I have a plan for next year.
Bucket list.
Get into the main, either the big parade in Dublin, or maybe you get into one in Greystones if there's one in Greystones.
Yeah, I'll be hiding around. I don't even know if Greystones will let me in. I haven't got the accent for it.
The culty St. Patrick's Day parades are always the funnest ones, because you just don't know what you're going to expect. Like, just
They
some
actually
magic
are.
or just something funny, like, yeah.
The most random floats will come along. Like, they're much better than the cities. The cities are so boring. I've only been in the city ones, marching with the schools, playing the same songs over again on the tin whistle or the drums. Or I remember one year I had like this, I don't even know what the instrument is. It's like metal and you hit it. It's not a xylophone, but it's similar to a xylophone.
Triangle.
No. There's keys on it, but it was lash and rain the year I was playing it, and it was like, it's metal, and afterwards I had to like peel my hand off it. It was so awful. I was like 8. It should be considered child abuse.
Careful.
Oh, I mean,
careful.
I mean, no, let your kids play that instrument in the parade. It's lovely.
I can't wait to see all of the like pictures on socials of some random float in a rural Irish town of just something silly, because they're the best things. Like, I know we watched the one in Dublin and it's all, you know, it's like, oh, these amazing teams and whatever, and I'm like, no, I just want to watch a lad on some the back of a tractor going through a rural Irish town dressed as something really funny,
like Trump or something along those lines. Yeah, they're the best.
Like, but I did see there was a few places that had them nearly over the weekend or Monday, that had like their St. Patrick's Day parade kind of early. I was like, kind of takes me.
Yeah.
But we're all here to discuss rugby. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
And we do welcome a lot of new listeners. Jesus, we had a lot of new listeners to last week's podcast. I don't really know why. I don't know. Aimee, had you anything to do with that?
Yeah, well, I wanted to start off, if anything I said last week upset or annoyed anybody, anyone who knows me knows that I'd never ever speak ill of somebody or mean anything with any bad intent or speak badly of anybody. So just an apology there, because like it's not in my nature to be mean or to be intentionally mean or anything like that. So just an apology there. Yeah.
That's for all the Limerick people that have gathered listenership to the podcast last week. Obviously, that's a nice segment into the games that are taking place this weekend, because, of course, you're playing Bows on Saturday, and another big one for both of you, in the sense that, like, they'll want to win it to keep up the winning streak that they have at the moment, and you'll want to win it because if you can keep closing this gap to Blackrock after beating them the last time, Aimee, you could get a home semi-final out of it.
Yeah, I think regardless of what it'll be, I think we're in a definitely in a semi-final now at this stage. But yeah, look, it'd be brilliant to get a win. I haven't played Bows since we lost against them in the final last year. Coincidentally, I was sick this year as well, so I'm hoping to be done being sick now by the end of the week. But it should be a good game. It'll be interesting to see if anything from last week bleeds over onto the pitch. Well, I'll be hoping not, but look, it is what it is. Yeah, I'm excited to play it, to be fair. I love playing Bows. It's always a brilliant game. Like, I was talking to my sister, and she was like, oh my God, I'm going to be there. My auntie's going to come up to it and stuff. So it'll be good. And I think Bows definitely want to keep that winning streak going. Look, we had a season where we won every game and lost in the final. So just because they're winning everything now doesn't mean that it's like it will all come down to the day of the semi-final and the day of the final, you know, for who will take it all. Like,
yeah, and it is just that kind of keeping that momentum. But as you spoke about, like last year, you were in that same position where it was like, Jesus, very well winning every game, they're going to run away with it. And in that final, you know, you had your moments, you were ahead, and then all of a sudden, it just one hand on the trophy, and immediately it's just snatched away from me. So it's those little things, and neither team will want to lose this game because it'll bring a winning streak to an end, and also you're losing a game right before the last game of the season just to build that confidence into a semi-final.
I think to be honest with you, it's the same as what I said last week. Losing isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think if whatever team loses, I think it'll give them something to learn. Okay, this didn't work. They have X amount of time now to the semi-final, X amount of time to the final. It gives them so much time to learn and to fix what didn't go right for them. So yeah, absolutely, we want to keep a winning streak on. We like you never want to lose a game, but regardless of what happens, I think there's going to be a lot of learnings and a lot of takeaways from it. I think we're in a really good spot at this time of the year to put everything into practice that we've been doing. So I don't know, it'll be really, really good. Hopefully we have video of it. Hopefully.
we love the highlights, especially of you running down the wing. I don't know if you still have one working lung or if the other one is slightly getting better. But
I've a sinus infection and all now, lads. I'm honestly I'm for the bin. I'm like a bag of Lego. I'm in bits.
this is what happens when you do all your DIY bits at home.
I know. Yeah, I think I've dust in my lungs, painted my hair, and glue on my hands. I don't know what's going on.
Stacey, from your own perspective, looking at these two teams, like they're both, you know, juggernauts of the league. They're both, you know, very, very strong, have built very impressive winning streaks over the last number of rounds now. So it is, Railway and Bows are all, it's always an entertaining game to watch. It's always a game that can come down to a late score here and there. Both teams are still missing players that they'll want to get back once we get to semi-finals and the final, should both teams make it. So I think it's certainly going to be one to keep an eye on. And if people are in Dublin on Saturday, certainly make your way down for that 5 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, it'll be really competitive. Bows and Railway, it's always a good game to watch. It is always back and forth. Like you don't know which way it is going to go, and you think it's going one way, next thing it doesn't. And I think as well, like for the players that are there now before the like Celtic challenge ends and more players will be coming back, it'll be kind of their opportunity to like really say like that they want this position and they want it going into the final. And I know Bows have obviously had like an amazing run. Winning all their games, but I think looking at Railway and what they did against Blackrock, I think it will be close. It's hard to say which way it could go, but I do think Railway will really put it up to UL, and no, it's always an entertaining game, and as well, yeah, like it would be nice to get the win, like Aimee said, and it'd be nice to get the home semi-final, but like at the end of the day, the only win that really does matter is the one in the final. So regardless of like whichever team wins or loses, they can both take things from it, and the team that loses probably can take more from it, and it might be able to set them up better coming into a final.
Yeah, and I know last week, Stacey, we did speak about, you know, Belleville putting that number of points on Bows, and Bows probably disappointed to have conceded as much points as they did, and they'll probably be looking at that Railway performance and saying, you know, the attack that Railway can have and the different players that can crop up and get scores on them as well. And probably in that little bit of an off week, maybe just looked at their defensive side of the game and just maybe tried to strengthen a couple of key areas just to not cop up a couple of points to another potential, you know, top four rival once we get to a semi-final or a final.
Yeah, like Aimee said it last week as well. Like Bows, they might let in like there's some high scores the teams have put on them, but once they're scoring more than the other team, it doesn't matter. Like, and that their defense can be quite risky, and but their attack is so good that they are always putting scores on the board. But they probably will, like coming up against Railway. Railway's another team that put up high scores, have done that for years now. But Railway, I think, also have had really consistent defence. So not a lot of teams have been able to score a lot against Railway. There's been a few times where teams are coming out of games with nothing or one try, even if they're lucky. So I think Bohs probably will look a little bit more at that defence side, because they know that they can score. So it'll just be really important keeping Railway out. Like if once one team gets momentum on the score sheet, like they could easily grow a bit of confidence and run away with it. So I do think it would be nice to see Bohs focus on scoring like they do, but just trying to keep their defense up and keep the opposing team down in scores.
Yeah, and from Aimee playing on home soil, you've got an away game down to a place that we've always said is a tough one to go to, and that's Wicklow. And at the same time, you'll be playing them at 5 o'clock on Saturday. It's a tough away game, and also both of you are in that kind of 5th, 6th spot in the conference playoffs at the moment. Both of you are in the running for home semi-finals, but Wicklow want to finish 5th. You want to finish 5th as well. Again, it's going to be a very tough game. They're coming in off the back of that loss to Ennis. You're buoyed after the couple of wins that you've picked up. So certainly going to be a tough one, Stacey.
Yeah, it is going to be tough. Like, it's funny, like it doesn't matter really whether you win or you lose. Like there's always going to be something to spur you on. So like you said, we've the wins that under our belt there. We'll want to keep that going, and then like Ennis are going to want to come back from losing against. Sorry, not Wicklow are going to want to come back from losing against Ennis. So like we both have our motives, and especially as well with wanting to get like a home semi-final. And I think, like you said, yeah, regardless of that, both of us want to finish 5th. Like we finished 6th last year, and we set a goal to finish higher this year. So like we would be disappointed if we, like, regardless of conference semi-finals, we would be disappointed if on the table we dropped to 6th. And I think like the last few years, Galwegians and Wicklow, we've been like fairly evenly matched teams. The games have always been close, and it's kind of like just about gone one way or the other. It kind of comes down to the 80th minute. So it's especially as well playing away, and the journey to Wicklow, it is going to be a tough game, and looking forward to it in one sense, but also like it's not going to be easy.
Away days are always fun, as long as the bus makes it there and you can play the game and everything like that. Yeah, not like some horror away days prior, but like from your perspective as well, you want to keep this little winning streak that you have going and build that confidence. Say, look, we want to nail down 5th spot and have that ahead of it. And as you said, like it's such a tough game. Like Wicklow we see what they did with Belvo down in their home patch. Like they don't make it easy for any team, and weather as well can play a part, whatever way the forecast is going to be for Saturday.
Yeah, weather can definitely play a big part. I think, especially like between us and Wicklow, we can both play like a very forward heavy game, and then we both also have the backs that can do the kicking and the running. So it'll probably affect both teams similarly, and we'll probably both end up playing a similar way. But yeah, we do obviously, like Galwegians, we want to keep our wins up, because there has been just that handful of games that we probably should have won, and we're kind of still trying to claw back those losses that we didn't think we deserved. So there's that as well. Like we do need another win under our belts.
And how's the squad been, I suppose, since the break? Will we see a couple of players returning? I know it is an away game, so it is tough for people to give up all their Saturday for it, but I'm sure we'll see a few more faces returning from your last outing.
Yeah, it is hard to get those extra numbers for, especially like a long away day when it is your entire day. But looking at our availability, it looks like we've a lot of people putting their hands up. A lot of people have made themselves available to travel. So I do think the team we have could look quite similar to what we put out against Tullow, just minus a few little changes.
Can't be giving too much away. Plenty of thumbs up in the group chats anyway as to who's
cards close to the chest.
Ready.
Yeah, not giving anything
Who's
away.
getting ready to make the trip. But like looking at it, Aimee, like this is another game of the week contender. Like they're both two teams that want to go on and potentially win the conference this year. So it's all about getting that momentum. You've played Wicklow down there, like they're very tough, but equally Galwegians get going, like they can put it up to any team.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think it'll be interesting to see because Wicklow are very much a second half team, and Galway have kind of found themselves in a similar position. So I think it'll be really the quickest off the mark is really gonna like be effective this weekend. Um, like Wicklow are coming off that roller coaster of getting the win against Belleville, now a loss against Ennis, and like I don't think they want to keep going down. I think they want to bring it back up, but like Weegians are on flying form at the minute, so it's going to be a really hard game. But like that, I think it's going to be a quite equally matched game in terms of forwards and backs and backs. So it'll be exciting to see. It'll be good to. It'll be a really good like it's actually be a good game to play. Like I'd be loving to play that game. I think it'd be really enjoyable. Like so, we'll see. Hopefully the weather stays nice and the pitch stays nice. But yeah, no, I think it'd be really good. But I think it'll be the quickest off the mark on Saturday for that game will be the one who takes it away.
When you look at the last day out for Wicklow, Aimee, like that Ennis game, you know, it was tit for tat in the first half, and then Ennis just surged ahead in the second half. And Wicklow, to their credit, like they kept going until the final minute of the game, but just that 10-minute kind of less than 10-minute burst that they had of scoring at the end just proved a little too late. So they'll probably want to put in more than a 40-minute performance in this one, and just as you said, just try and nail down that kind of home advantage. Maybe do what they did against Belleville and just try and build that confidence up.
Yeah, look, you want to have an 80-minute performance when you're playing at this level. Like you can't hide with a 40-minute, you can't hide with a 60-minute, you can barely hide with a 70. You know, so like it has to be a full game performance, especially when you're playing a team like Weegians that will absolutely capitalize on any mistakes that you're gonna make. And if you knock that ball on, you know their scrum is big, you know their scrum is heavy, and you know that they're gonna push through you. Like so, and if you kick the ball away, you know their backs can catch it and can run the length of the pitch. So, uh, God, I forgot what I was saying. I'm lost. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
Too many hits to the head.
Only two hits, so I'm doing all right. But oh my God, I'm lost. What was I talking about?
This is what happens when you're recording early
Lads,
in the morning.
I'm on minus sleep. I've pain fumes in the head. I'm sand up my nose. I took a chunk off my finger. Like you're getting the worst of me, lads. But
no condition to be playing rugby this weekend.
No. Don't worry, I'll try. But yeah, I think like Wicklow are quite hard to play up at home because they know the pitch and they know like Beth's fantastic with the boot. Like she knows how far she can kick it and she'll be used to training on the ground. So hopefully the conditions stay similar enough, and let's see. But equally, like depending on who Weegians have playing at 10, like it's gonna be a really really interesting game. You know.
Let me just check our availability sheet.
Keep it under wraps. Keep it under wraps. Don't tell us.
No,
Let it be a surprise.
Anything.
Yeah.
And starting at 10 this week is Stacy Hanley.
I'll give it a go. Look, we know I can end the game. So give me the duties. Let me go.
Not a bother to you. And while we spoke about those two games there, like every game is obviously important this weekend and everything has a little bit, behind it. But probably the biggest game in terms of what it means for both teams is Tullow and Cooke, because for both of them, I'm just bringing up my my league table here. Cooke are in 9th spot with 8 points, and Tullow are bottom of the table on 3. Tullow can finally break their losing streak and get a win this weekend. It makes it an interesting last day of the season the following weekend to see who's going to stay up and who's going to get relegated from the competition. If Cooke can win it, then that effectively means that Tullow are relegated this weekend. Tullow are at home. This one is probably going to come right down to the wire, Stacey. It's it's almost like a final in itself for both teams. And I'm sure Tullow, with that home advantage, they've been playing well recently. I know, look, you got the better of them last week, but still, you only got 26 points on them in the end, and they've certainly turned the screw in these last few weeks with performances they put up against top 4 teams and so on and so forth. But they're certainly looking like a side that if they can get a rub of the green on Saturday, could easily get a result here.
Yeah, they are like a side that's just kind of taken a step up. Like, I know it was 26-0 against them the last weekend, but half time was 7-0. Like, they weren't letting us get away from them. It was just kind of the last 30 minutes even that kind of let us get a bit of momentum on them. But if they could have hold us out like one extra try, like it would have been like a dogfight up till the end. I think I think on like the amount of work that you can see they've been putting in, because it's reflective in the games they've been playing. I think they're going to just be seeing red this weekend. Like, this is the game they've been holding out for. This is the game that they really needed to target. And yeah, they were putting it up to top 4 teams the last while, but all of that doesn't matter. It's what they do on Saturday. So I think that they have it in them as well. Like, they have that fight in them, like for a team to lose as many times as they have and to still line out and play. I think that they're, especially as well at home, like surely they'll have loads of support behind them, which will be that like little bit of extra encouragement, an extra reason to get the win. I think they're going to come out like all guns blazing.
And Cooke, Aimee, are a team that, look, they've strong history in this competition, but have been certainly disappointed that they've finished at the lower end of the table for the last couple of seasons. Like, they're a proud club up there. They're the only club currently representing Ulster in this competition, and some fantastic players, some seasoned players that are still playing with them as well. And they're always a tough team. And you look at that game against Ballincollig last time out, they could have easily got a win out of that. It just didn't go their way in the end. And certainly they've learned the lessons from that. It's a tough away journey for them to go all the way down to Tullow. And when they've been playing with a squad that they haven't had a full deck at times this year, they only had 3 subs for their home game against Ballincollig. So, they'll be hoping that little bit of a break now can, get players back and get them right now for this weekend.
Yeah, look, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's an away game, so I think one of their away games this year, they only came down with 1 sub, maybe 2 subs. So I don't know, like for Tullow, I think it's finally starting to click, but I don't know if it's too far gone for it to really like be the difference of something. Like, I think like it's a relegation playoff what they're playing. Like, it's gonna come down to like if Tullow can get points on the board, if Tullow can get 5 points, that'll bring them back up. It'll come down to who has got the most points scored against them and for them. So I'd say Tullow are going to be going out with wanting to win, and Cooke are going to want to go out and put as many points on them as they can and show, like, don't write us off. We're still here. Like, we've been in this league for over 8 years. We're still in this league. You can't just write us off. So I don't know. I think again it'll be very tit for tat. But Tullow, like, even when we played Tullow, like Tullow this part of the season, like, we only got, I think, less than 40 points on them, and they got a try against us as well. So, like, I can't even remember the score, but like, we didn't score anywhere close to what we did last year or the start of this year. So yeah, I think it'll be really tit for tat. I think I don't know who I'd put my money on, to be honest with you. I'm not a big gambler, and I don't like risk, so I think I'll keep everything in my pocket. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I think if Cooke can come out with a bench and with numbers, I think they might do it. But like, I don't know.
Yeah, it was 41-5 when you played.
Yeah.
Tullow down there, and I know you were frustrated with the way that the game had gone. Tullow really made it hard for you. It could be the same with Cooke. They might have it all their own way. Tullow are 2 points actually better off than them in terms of score difference at the moment. So bonus point win for Tullow and no bonus point for Cooke would result in Tullow going out of the drop zone going into that last game of the season. They obviously play Wicklow. Cooke I think they're home to Wicklow on the last day of the season, and Tullow take on Ennis. So that could be a very interesting last day of the season. But nobody knows what's going to happen between these two. I think it is so hard to call, Stacey, kind of to see who's going to come out of this, because I know Tullow have the long-standing losing streak. Cooke have only won one game this season. That was against Tullow up in Shaw's Bridge. So it is kind of a flip of the coin. But as we spoke about your own game with Wicklow, it's probably, whoever starts the better and can probably build on it will take the result.
Yeah, I think like Aimee, I wouldn't be throwing all my money on one team. Like it is, it's very hard to call. It's kind of, I think this weekend's really good matchup, teams wise. Like you can't really call any of those matches, but it probably is the same thing. Yeah, I think kind of all of those games, it probably is the team that kind of comes out strongest at first. The ones that like come out fighting from the whistle are probably the ones that you'd fancy their chances. So, but that could be either team on the day as well. Like it can't be called.
16 seasons and 200 caps later, I'm delighted to be joined by Cooke stalwart Teah Morton. Big weekend for you guys going down to Tullow, and with that 5-point advantage in place, if you suffer a defeat this weekend, now Tullow really opens that door for them to potentially stay up this season. But I'm sure you'll all be just trying to get another result against them and try and secure safety this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know what's at stake, as do they, absolutely. But again, we've got to go down there with the best intentions and essentially coming away with a win. But we've got to earn the right. Go down there, put a performance in, and then hopefully we'll be rewarded with the win. But yeah, both teams, I'm sure, it's going to be a good match anyway. It'll be no doubt a feisty one, and hopefully it'll be a good match either way.
Because we've kind of dubbed it as a final, because if you can get a result, that's basically it in terms of the relegation for this season confirmed. But for Tullow, like, they get a result, it's going to be a big day for them to try and stay up. And like, they've had a good patch of form recently with some of the results they've gotten. I know I've put 1 point on the board in terms of a losing bonus point against Belleville, but I'm sure from your perspective, that game against Ballincollig at home might be one that just slipped away.
100%. I mean, we've had 2 or 3 this season that we feel like we're so close but yet so far. And I know, as the saying goes, winning's a mentality. Winners win, and we just seem to lack that clinical edge. It's a habit, and unfortunately so is losing. Games just, as you say, haven't gone our way, and definitely Ballincollig definitely was the one that got away, and I think we almost felt like we had it, and then right at the death, then we didn't. So thankfully picked up another losing bonus point, which puts us in good stead going into the weekend, and for the last 2 fixtures. But yeah, certainly heartbreaking on Saturday past.
And it was kind of reminded me of that Ennis game as well that you played up on home soil, Ennis grabbing it right at the death as well. It's probably one of those days where you're walking off the pitch going, will we ever get another win on the board?
Exactly that. You can blame a lot of things, but at the end of the day, you've got to reflect on yourself. And I think that's something we're maybe too good at or too harsh on ourselves at, especially with, like, we have such a young team. I think just earlier on in the week we were having a chat, and we have 6 girls still in school, which is just crazy. They're battling AIL, training 2, 3, 4 times a week, playing a match on Saturday, but also trying to sit their A levels, which is credit to them. And then obviously some within first year of uni too, which is great for the future of Cooke. But maybe just not so much whenever you're going up against the more experienced players within different clubs and teams.
Yeah, and I know, look, injuries as well haven't helped you guys this year. Like trying to, to fill a bench has been something that you've been battling, as well as trying to get results. And I know that Ballincollig game, I think you only had 3 players on the bench that day for a home game. So you've certainly been battling that, and it's certainly tough for players that you have to play a full 80 minutes and you can't come off.
Yeah, look, absolutely. We're far better off this season than we were last. I think last year we started the season with 22 injuries, and not just your odd little sprain or strain. It was significant ACLs, AC joints, shoulders. This year has been slightly kinder to us. We've fielded every game, and we've had a bench, which is a luxury compared to the previous season. But look, we've got a strong youth group coming in behind this group again, and the future is bright, but it's just trying to fight to stay in and allow those youngsters that are coming through the opportunity and the chance to play in the AIL. And I suppose for me personally, I'm not necessarily fighting to stay in the AIL this season for me or next season for me. It's to lay the platform for those coming through the club, because we have some superstars in our youth structure that are involved with pros and international rugby.
Like, for any player to get 200 caps with a club is an amazing milestone, and you've been with Cooke for donkey's years now, in terms of the 16 years that you've been a part of it. So when did you first get involved with Cooke, and what has been, I suppose, the journey been like since?
I was 2010 was my first match. Actually, was looking at it earlier. It was against St Mary's, and we won it 10-3. So yeah, like whenever I first started with Cooke, there was teams like Clonmel, Highfield, Tralee, St Mary's. And it's good to see. I know St Mary's are building again and so on, but there's so many teams have fallen by the wayside since I have been playing. So it's nice to sort of see that Cooke has been through, has been there through thick and thin, I suppose. We've been in the AIL every single year bar one, and we got relegated and came back up again, which is not very, that doesn't happen very often. I played alongside the likes of Grace Dava, Amy Davis, Suzanne Fleming, Gillian McAllister, Rachel Reid, to name a few. Like, whenever I started playing, it was just basically a team of Irish internationals. Played against the likes of Joy Neville, who's had a miraculous playing career as well as a refereeing career, and has now retired from both. So yeah, my 200 caps has been nothing short of interesting and very, very joyful as well. Like, it's been great. Like, I've stayed at the club for one reason or another, and I wouldn't change it, to be honest with you.
I know it's there's obviously days that have been very good, and there's days that haven't as well, but like, as you mentioned about putting the platform in place, like for any team to have those players that are putting on the jersey for over 200 caps, like, it's great that those younger girls can look up and be like, we still have those leaders in the team that can help us get to that level, and potentially get to that level of appearances for a club down the line as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can only hope that the youngsters, even in the senior team at the minute, can aspire to do that. There's a lot of you can look at the negative side of Cooke at the minute and say, and it is tough to be on the end of losses. There's no denying that. But the core group of girls and women that we have they are just amazing. You've the youngsters that live for their weekends, and after the Saturday matches, they're like, wait, where's the party at? And then you've got the older ones like myself, and the mums that just right, we're going to bed, that's enough. And it's a nice balance of everything. But yes, it is hard losing, and we did have a chat. We've had a chat at the start, in the middle, and the end of last season, to sort of be like, do you want this? Is this what you want? Do you want to be here? And every single person, whether they were injured, whether they were regular players, whether they were aspiring to be in the senior team or were retiring, every single player said, no, we want to be in the AIL. That's where we see best fit. And, we want to play the best rugby for us. And, we have progressed, from the start, whenever I started in 2010 with all those players, we have progressed. It's just, I suppose, unfortunate for us that the other provinces and the other clubs in the other provinces have progressed at a faster and higher rate. It's not that we're not getting any worse. We're just getting better at a slower pace, I suppose. But yeah, look, to carve out a pathway and to have a pathway there from youth right through to seniors, is I suppose an aspiration every club should have, and it's definitely one that Cooke want to build upon, for the future and create a bigger and better environment for women and girls, boys, men, everything.
Well, I'm sure if you got a result against Tullow on Saturday, there'd be no going to bed early. There'll be a party.
No, there's a bus book for that, just in case.
Definitely was going to be was going to be the case, but like it's great to have that pathway, but obviously you still want to be an AIL team, so it's all about now putting in that performance. And while you can look back at that Ballincollig game last time out and say we should have got a result from it or something like that, or that Ennis game, as I mentioned, or a couple of others that have just slipped through the fingers this year, the only win on the board that we've gotten was that game against Tullow earlier on this year. So I know you've beaten them before. You've had that experience of getting that result, and I'm sure it's just going to be all about trying to get that confidence now, ensure that you're going to be an AIL team next year, and then the next crop of girls can be building over the summer and getting in for another season with Cooke and the AIL.
Yeah, 100%. And as I said earlier, like it'll be a great game for a mutual supporter by all accounts, because both teams will be going all guns blazing, and they have to. Both teams know what's at stake, and selfishly, hopefully we come away with the win. But look, the training's been, the ante has been upped, to say. There's been a lot of emphasis been put on the last couple of weeks. Tullow hasn't been our only targeted game. We have targeted games throughout the season. You look at that bottom half of the table. You're looking to pick up a win, bonus point win, a losing bonus point. There's so many variations on how you pick up points, and it's just about how you go and attack that. Now, yes, Ballincollig is past and we can't change it, but ultimately we wanted to go out and put a performance in. We did that tick. We want the points out of that match. We got one, which is better than none. But again, you just got to keep ticking and moving forward. So yeah,
because it is all on the line for both teams. Because as you mentioned, like you look at, say, the league tables from this competition, say pre-COVID. So when we had those years that there was teams going up and going down, like there was a lot of chopping and changing, and there's teams that have fallen by the wayside, as you said, that are maybe they're in junior competitions now, haven't been in the AIL for the last couple of years. It's never a guarantee that a team goes down out of this competition and comes right back up. So it's all about establishing that. And when you look at Ulster as well, you're the only team in Ulster at the moment that are fighting there. So there is a lot of pride for me. Like, talk about yourself putting up 200 caps in that badge. Like, there's a lot of pride in this team to stay up, and I'm sure it's going to be just everyone needs to put the jersey on the hand on the heart or the hand on the crest or whatever it takes to try and get you over the line. Because I know everyone in that dressing room, while you have had those tough days and probably emotions running high after tough defeats, that it's all on the line now for Saturday. And if it doesn't happen, it's it could be a tough time for the club.
Oh, absolutely. Like you've mentioned there that teams get relegated and end up playing junior rugby, and like sometimes teams get relegated and fold altogether, which is seriously unfortunate. The amount of teams that have been and gone, it is sad, and hopefully that doesn't happen to either ourselves or Tullow. You don't want to see any team to fold, but yeah, look, whatever happens on Saturday, we know we've got to stick together and stay in the fight right to the end. From no matter what happens, we just got to stick in it, and hopefully come away with a win, and but again, we can only see what happens on Saturday, and we'll have to adapt and change, and change things, stick to the program, do what you got to do, and we'll find our way.
Well, it's going to be an interesting one between yourselves and Tullow. 5 o'clock kickoff down in Ratho Road. Listen, Teah, thanks very much for coming on our Women's Rugby podcast this week, and the best of luck for Saturday's game.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Moving from a potential final, we'll call it, a relegation game, whatever you want to call it, and you look at moving from there to Blackrock against Belvo. I know it's another top 4 game. From the Belvo perspective, they're going to be finishing 4th regardless of how their last 2 games go, but I'm sure, Aimee, after the defeat to Bowes, coupled with the defeat to Wicklow, that they will be seriously looking just to get a better performance now this weekend and just build a bit of confidence ahead of that semi-final.
Yeah, definitely. Like I'd say Belvo are licking their wounds, and they're probably sick of that now, so they're gonna want to come out and get a big win. And I think they're home, aren't they?
They are, I believe.
Yeah, like as we said,
No, they're away. Blackrock.
They're away.
Blackrock are at home. Yeah, yeah.
Then it's a different gravy. Blackrock are really hard to play in their own pitch. I know we literally played them 2 weekends ago. But Belvo, yeah, like they've had such a great start to the season. They had a really, really great start to the season. And it's just kind of the chains have started to loosen. So hopefully that they're after getting tightened up, and we'll see how it goes this weekend. But like a Blackrock Belvo game is always a really, really good game to watch as well. So I think exactly what Stacey said, like every week, like this week, every lineup, you can't call it, like you don't know what's going to come from it. So it'll be interesting to see. Well, obviously, I hope Belvo get a win and a bonus point, because it'll kind of give us a little bit of a boost up. But it'll be a good game. I think I'm leaning slightly more towards that Blackrock might have it have a closer shot. But again, you don't know who's going to be there. You don't know about injuries. You don't know who's away. Like there's loads of things that will come into it. So we'll see. We'll know by 7 o'clock on Saturday night who to put the money on.
Because I know you played them last time out, and they were definitely disappointed walking off the pitch that day, knowing that they probably should have put in a better performance against you guys. So maybe there is that revenge in their back of their heads, Aimee, that they want to go out this weekend and put in a performance to say we're here to get the title this year.
Yeah, they're gonna want to put up a performance and say, look, that was just a blip in the system. We've learned from it. You won't score tries the same way that they score tries. So that I think that's, like I said last week, that like even when you lose, it's a lesson and it's a learning. So I think they'll be coming out. Both teams will be coming out with big learnings from the previous outings.
Stradbrook's a tough place to go, Stacey, and I know it's a Dublin derby. It's going to have that little bit of extra about it. But look, Belvo are tough side. Just results the last few weeks haven't gone their way. I'm sure. Look, they've taken the time out and looked at what they need to better against a team like Blackrock. But defensively, Blackrock will want to smarten up from their game last weekend. Maybe just disappointed as to how that transpired, but they still have a lot of quality players that they can attack. Again, we're waiting to see what team sheets look like with those 2 Celtic Challenge semi-finals on Saturday, as well as to who's been called up for that, who's going to be made available for clubs, and etc. But they have really shown their strength in depth in this competition, and will make it a very tough day out for Belvo.
Yeah, it is really hard to play Blackrock at home. Like there's just something like about them, especially when they're on their home pitch, that like just nearly makes them like unstoppable. And I think like Blackrock having lost to Railway, like that was uncharacteristic for them, kind of how their season's gone. So I think they'll kind of like, do a Wolfhounds on it, like that wasn't us there last weekend, this is us, I think. So I think they're gonna come out and they're gonna get Belvo for what Railway did to them, basically. I do think they're going to come out and they're not going to be taking another loss. Like they're with them being so high up on the table, having done so well recently, been putting massive scores on people, holding teams scoreless. They're going to want to show that that's what they do. Like they're going to want to finish off the way they've been playing consistently.
From a Dublin derby to a Munster derby on Lee side to end off the discussion, we'll talk about the game that actually kickstarts the weekend, and that's Ballincollig hosting Ennis down at Tanner Park at 4 o'clock on Saturday. Both teams coming in off the back of hard-earned wins. Of course, Ballincollig away to Cooke and Ennis picking up a home win against Wicklow. If you can do the job, Stacey, against Wicklow up in Wicklow, and Ennis put in a bonus point win away to Ballincollig, could see Ennis jumping up to 6th place in the table, giving them home advantage for a semi-final going into the last day of the season. And for a debutant, like that would be an amazing result for them going into the last day of the season, when you went into the first game of the season going, what way is it going to transpire? And all these rounds later, they could be in a home conference semi-final.
Yeah, that's massive for Ennis, and it's a testament to them and just how they've played this season. And it's definitely something that you wouldn't write off. It's possible. Like they very well could come out of this weekend in 6th place, which is just like it's mad to see. Like you don't see new teams doing that, but you see Ennis doing it. So you've seen as well, like in the last few games, you just can't write Ennis off either just because they're the new team. They've put scores on teams you wouldn't expect them to, come away with wins when they've been the underdog. So coming up against Ballincollig as well, like again, another like really good matched game. Like I think it's going to be really back and forth as well. And it'll just probably come down to who wants it more. That's it, I think.
My past maths for leaving cert is showing here, because they will be on the same points, score difference comes into it. And Wicklow have a much better score difference. So you would have to do Ennis a fairly big favour and put up a big result there, and they'd have to do one against Ballincollig. But we've seen crazier things happen.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an incentive. We'll help them out.
Big results this weekend. We'll have loads of highlights to chat about next week. But from the Ennis perspective, Aimee, like they've kind of been the story of the competition this year. Like it's been a fairly crazy season, but they've just gone about their business well. And if they, can go level on points with Wicklow, like that last day of the season is going to be fairly interesting for them. But Ballincollig, they're at home, and they are coming off the back of that win, and they won't make it easy for any team coming down to them. And I know from talking to the two Flemings last week that game that they played Ennis in the second round of the season was one that they felt that they left behind them.
Yeah, and definitely if they felt like they've left behind it, they're going to want to come out this week and show like that's not how they play, that's not the result they wanted. But I think in terms of Ennis, like they've had like a film start. Like it feels like it's part of a movie. Like they'll do a documentary about it or something, So like I know they're not in the top 1 or top 2, but like if you look at how when Tullow first came up, like, and when Wicklow first came up, like the results that they were getting, like I've said it before, I said it a couple of weeks ago, if a team can come up like Ennis from one of the provincial leagues and do a job like this, like what other teams are out there, and it'd be really easy to see, like it'd be really interesting to see, especially with the semi-finals on the 29th of March, is it?
No, that's the promotion games.
Oh, right, sorry. Yeah, so, but what I mean is for them to get promoted for whatever teams are happening there, like I'm going to be really interested in watching them games to see the quality of rugby with them, because like I think Ennis is the new mark, and being like, if you come up to the AIL, this is what you can do. You won't just go and get pumped for however many games. Like you can come up and you can be a serious competitor in the league. So I think regardless of what happens at the weekend, Ennis should have a real big pride, and like Ballincollig, yeah, they're a fucking nightmare to play at home. Like they're really, really strong down in Cork. So it'd be an interesting game. I always dread it because it's a 3-hour drive, nearly 4-hour drive on the bus. So it'll be a little bit better for Ennis. I think they might be a bit closer.
Yeah, certainly closer. Certainly still a bit of a trek though to go all the way down there to play them. Round 17 this weekend. We'll just go a quick run through the fixtures once again. So Ballincollig and Ennis, as we spoke about there, they kick off the weekend at 4:00. Then Blackrock host Belvo at 5. Railway host Bowes. Tullow host Cooke, and Wicklow host Galwegians, all at 5:00 as well. You obviously mentioned it there, Amy. You alluded to the playoff semi-finals. So we got the draw for the playoff semi-finals. Those will take place the following weekend. So while round 18 of the season will conclude the following Saturday, the 28th of March, 29th of March, we'll figure out what two teams are going to stake their claim for promotion into the AIL. At that stage, we'll know what side is relegated and so on and so forth. But on Sunday, both games will have a home side and an away side. So Enniskillen will host Tuam at 2:30 on the Sunday, and Barnhall will host Shannon. So two very intriguing games. Barnhall, of course, played Shannon in the Junior Cup early on this season, went down to Limerick and had a one-sided win on the day. A good performance by them to, again, stake their claim for a junior title that they've won once again. And then the other side of the coin is Enniskillen and Tuam. Enniskillen, of course, beat Barnhall in the semi-final last year, lost to Ennis in the final, played Tuam earlier on this year in the Junior Cup semi-final away to Tuam and beat them. It's going to be a lot at stake, Stacey, to see just who's gonna come out of these alive.
Yeah, like if it had all been one-sided with one team like winning, you could probably predict it, but it is like, you know, one team wins 1 week and then the next wins the next. So it is hard to call. At Barnhall, like a home game as well, you probably would fancy Barnhall just looking at the scores that they've been putting in on teams. Like I think if they played an AIL team, they'd put up a really good fight. Like there's probably some teams there that they maybe could even beat. And then Enniskillen and Tuam. Enniskillen, they did get the win against Tuam the last time they were out. Tuam, like they're really, really consistent in the Connacht Junior League, and they're in the Connacht Junior Cup final now. They played Westport. They were behind for a certain amount of the game, but then they absolutely ran away with it, putting 50 points on Westport. So like they're a try scoring machine like as well. So I think you can't, with Enniskillen and Tuam, you can't really say, like, obviously there's the home advantage then that Enniskillen have. So Tuam playing in the Connacht division, I don't think they really have to, like, they haven't had to travel too much. They don't really have crazy long away days, so I think that sometimes can just drag them down a tiny bit. So as long as they travel well, prepare for traveling, it'll be a really, really close game. The Enniskillen Tuam game. That one would be hard to call.
Because it's got so many different kind of layers and subplots and everything like that. Because you look at it, you know, they were Tuam Gerard last year. Now they're obviously Tuam this year, but they had lost the semi-final last year to Ennis, while Enniskillen obviously had gotten their win. So there will be that little bit of, you know, revenge on the mind for each team. Like, look, Enniskillen want to get back to where they were last year and stake their claim for promotion. And with what had happened last year, you know, Tullow finished bottom of the table and Suttonians folded. They thought, well, we could have a second team coming up maybe because the team got relegated and so on and so forth. Just didn't transpire for them. They'll want to do it. Tuam have had a bit of heartbreak over the last few years. They've been constantly battling on that door to try and get promoted. Just hasn't happened. So they'll want to do that. Shannon are coming into it for the first time, I think, this year. So they'll be looking to stake their claim against the powerhouse, and everyone is obviously going to tip Barnhall, Aimee, to come up. I mean, they've been the undisputed junior side for the last couple of years in terms of the Junior Cup, and while it didn't transpire last year that they made the playoff final, they'll be hungry. But a home semi-final, if they can turn that into a final to get themselves promoted, I'm sure they'll want to do what the men did a week before and get promoted.
Yeah, and I think like Barnhall absolutely can do it, but I think the only thing that will stop them doing it is themselves. I think they can be their own worst enemies at times. I don't know. I just hope that they put their head down and play the rugby, don't turn in, and I do think they should be up in the AIL. I think like what they've gone 3 years like winning the Junior Cup, something like that. And they've been completely like unbeatable in the Leinster League. Like I think it's time for them to come up and like really test themselves. And they have quite a young team. Like they have a lot of like college students. If you go to Maynooth, you usually play with Barnhall and stuff. So it'll be good for them to come up and like experience what it's like up in the AIL and see how it is. So I think I like Shannon like are a fantastic rugby side, but my fear is, does anybody who want to play in the AIL or want to get up to AIL, do they go and play with Bows? Because it's close enough, isn't it? We'll see my geography.
Yeah. It's
But,
still Limerick.
Yeah, that's what I said. I was
Not
like,
side by
Limerick.
side, but it's close
Yeah,
enough.
it's Limerick.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, I think Shannon are like fairly new contenders compared to Enniskillen and Cheam and Barnhall. So, I love an underdog story as well. It'd be class to see Shannon come out with it and get the win. But yeah, I think Barnhall need to stay out of their head. Like if you look at the semi-final last year, like it came down to a penalty kick in the last however many minutes. Like it was 3-0 to Enniskillen. So I think Barnhall just keep the head down and try score points when they can or where they can, and that'll be the making of them. Like
yeah, like I know Shannon have been here before, but it's quite a long time ago since they were last in this running for playoffs, and obviously, you know, Barnhall 4 in a row Junior Cup champions and got the better of them in that game below in Limerick. I know it was start of the season, and you know both of them have had a season under their belt now to prepare for this, so that'll be interesting, and we'd have plenty of discussion on that to look ahead to those two big games next week, along with the round 18 for the women's AIL as well. Outside of it, Celtic Challenge, 2 semi-finals on in the Dexcom this weekend. And no, both of them aren't on at 3 o'clock, as the Celtic Challenge website has at the moment. The Clovers take on the Gwalia Lightning at 12, and the Wolfhounds game is at 3 o'clock against the Britain Thunder. I know the Wolfhounds have a bit of history against the Britain Thunder after losing to them over in that absolute dire day over in Wales. That was an absolute shocking day for rugby. But as you said, Stacey, look, they picked themselves up after it, got the result, and I'm sure home semi-final in the Dexcom, they'll want to stake their claim to head over to the Hive for the final.
Yeah, they definitely will, and they won't be letting the same thing that happened happen again, I think. Especially then as well on the Astro pitch, like that'll really like work in Wolfhound's favor. Like the backline that they have on that team is lethal. So I think they're gonna come out and show that like they are a consistent team, and that like it is every week that they, apart from that 1 week, it's every week that they can put massive scores on teams. I'd like to see them like hold that out for 80 minutes though, because like we've said, they seem to score so much in the first half, and then they kind of think job done maybe, and just fall off a little bit, give the other team a little bit of hope. So I'd like to see them like keep that up and stay consistent the whole way through, and put in a massive second half as well as a good first half.
That pitch in the Dexcom will certainly be testing for both of them, but I'm sure, look, Aimee, we've seen what the Wolfhounds can do. Like, they've got some absolutely exceptional players. They've been very, very strong, as Stacey said, just the the one blotch on that perfect record in this competition to date. And look, they've shown what they can do, but I'm sure the Britain Thunder will come over and say, I know it's an away game semi-final, but can still spring a bit of an upset against them.
Yeah, and I think they'll be thinking that they came away with the win the last time. So what's the difference now? Like I always say, the pitch is the same for everybody. The wind is the same for everybody. So what's the difference now? But I completely agree with Stacey. Like I think if Wolfhounds can keep points ticking over rather than scoring everything in the first half and then resting on the laurels, I think they'll come away with it easily. I think, like, to be honest with you, I think the Irish sides of the Celtic Challenge are leaps and bounds ahead of what the other teams are doing, which isn't to say that the other teams aren't doing well or aren't doing anything right. Like, they're also the highest level of rugby in their respective countries. So I just think everything is kind of clicking with the Wolfhound and Clovers, and they're so used to playing with each other and they're so used to playing against each other that they know how everybody works. And like, obviously I'm not over in Wales, I'm not over in Scotland, so I don't know how it works over there, whether it's a club system or if it's a college system or if they play it down in England. Like, so I'd be assuming that both Irish sides will come away with the wins, but like, you don't know who. I'm not a gambler. I wouldn't put my money on it, but if I would.
Obviously, Clovers kick it off at 12. They had their own game, Stacey, in the XCOM earlier on in the competition. Look, I know they've played on it. It's not to say, oh, it's a pitch that we're going to be suited to. You still have to put in a performance regardless of the venue, but good for the Connacht representation on the Clovers to get a semi-final in this competition on home soil.
Yeah, it's really nice to see, and there'll be like that element of it really being a home game for those girls who are used to playing there with Connacht over the summer. And it's great like that the pitch is getting to host these games, like even, hosting one of the women's Six Nations games. So much went into the Dexcom, so for it to be able to bring these matches to us in Galway is great to see. Well, so with Clovers, I think they sometimes make it hard for themselves, and they can end up having like a really tight game. It's like they give the other team like a little bit of a glimmer of hope, and then they just kind of finish it out. But I think they'll want to like come out like gunning from the blocks. Like they need to start well and be consistent, and not like they've had very back and forth games where they've just edged out. They'll want to not do that this time. They'll want to run away with it to just secure that final. And as well, like Aimee said, I know the Irish side seem to just be like ticking compared to the others, but like those Welsh sides have been like, they've been impressive, and they've put in some really impressive games as well. So like, I also wouldn't be gambling, like, especially like Gwalia have put in a few good shifts as well. So it's all so hard to call, but you'd fancy the two Irish sides. You'd hope they'd do it now at home.
Yeah, while the game is brought to Galway, Stacey would be heading in the opposite direction and heading to Wicklow to play.
What the hell? Like, why do I have to be in Wicklow? Maybe our bus will leave really late.
Still don't think you'll make it by the time the Clovers game would finish.
Open up Galway Airport again. Let's
bring it back.
Half an hour journey. Let's go.
Try and find somewhere to land in Wicklow. I don't know, do Wicklow have an airport?
You can land in my garden, lads. I don't mind. You can land in the garden.
Perfect.
Private helicopter all the way from Galway all the way to Wicklow to get you there. Like. But from Clover's perspective, Aimee, I suppose, look, they had that loss against the Wolfhounds last time out, so they're coming in off the back of a defeat, but have gotten the better against Gwalia to date in this competition. So look, they have the history against them on one side. Obviously, they'll have the loss to contend with and just try and, you know, sweep that under the rug and go this weekend. But like, they've some fantastic players as well. Don't know what the kind of squad update or injury update is at the moment for them, along with the Wolfhounds, but with the strength and depth that they have, as well as the Wolfhounds, they'll be looking to try and put one Irish side into a final before the other side kicks off.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Clovers have been really, really good throughout the competitions, and I know they've lost to the Wolfhounds the last result, but like, it was really, really close. And I think if the game had lasted another 20 minutes, I think it would have been a different result. But yeah, I think I'm just really patriotic. Like, I want to see an Irish final. You know, it gives me an excuse to get flights over. So but yeah, like, hopefully the injury list will be very few, if any, and that they can put out a really strong side and really put a mark down and come into the semi-final, and hopefully, if they get the win, come into the final absolutely fighting and gunning for it, you know.
We're very patriotic on St. Patrick's Day recording this, that's for sure.
Like, I have a big Ireland on my leg. I have Ireland on my leg.
That just goes short right away there.
Yeah.
We'll look at. We've obviously spoken about the two games itself, but we'll take a look at what the representative squads had to say. So I caught up first with Katie Whelan from the Clovers, and then also heard from India Daly representing the Wolfhounds. As we have mentioned there, of course, a big weekend of Celtic Challenge semi-finals in the Dexcom on Saturday. First up, the Clovers against the Gwalia Lightning at 12 o'clock. Delighted to be joined by Katie Whelan from the Clovers setup. I know the result against the Wolfhounds in your last game didn't go the way you would have liked, but I'm sure it's been just trying to right the wrongs now ahead of a big semi-final on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we spoke about, like, Wolfhounds is always a big game for us, whether I'm on the Wolfhounds side or the Clover side. But I feel like we kind of got off to a slow start against the Wolfhounds, and I feel like we kind of spoke about that at halftime, and it was actually really calm at halftime in the dressing room. We were just like, we have way more in us. And I think a big thing we spoke about was like belief. We were like, we actually need to be more confident in ourselves. Like, do you know what I mean? We're better than what we're playing. So I think that was a big thing for us at halftime. We had a better second half, obviously, but just started too late. Like,
and I'm sure, I know we've kind of said it on the podcast about a couple of games that maybe in the second half things will happen and teams will put scores on you, and suddenly, you know, you're maybe on the back foot just trying to recompose yourselves, or maybe you're chasing a game. So I'm sure putting in a full 80-minute performance is on the agenda now for Saturday.
Yeah, definitely, especially against Gwalia. They're such a strong side, and like, I feel like for us Clovers, we've had a lot of changing in players and stuff, and we've also had a lot of younger players, so it's harder to get that 80-minute like consistent performance. But at this stage in the competition now, it's something that we've been really working on in training, and we've spoke about it a lot. So hopefully, like, this weekend we'll be able to pull that out of the bag more. So, do you know what I mean? Like, we're more conscious now that it's so important that, especially it's knockout rugby now, like, we can't let people back into the game at the end of the game and stuff. So yeah, hopefully, like, it's something that we've really spoken about. So
I know you've played on the Dexcom pitch already in this competition. Yeah. I don't know if that's going to be a big factor, that you've got that experience of playing there, so it's not going to be a daunting experience now on Saturday.
No, definitely not. And like, I know myself, I'm not from Connacht, but a lot of the Connacht girls, like, even during the week, spoke about like they love playing in Dexcom because, well, the pitch is gorgeous, but there's the new dressing rooms and everything in it, and it's so nice. But also we train there as well, so it does kind of feel like have a home advantage, which is nice. And even though I'm from Leinster, like, I still have played in Dexcom a good couple of times over, like, the last couple of years with intros and stuff, and the pitch is gorgeous. The dressing rooms are massive. They're so nice on the inside. So yeah, definitely, it's really nice not to have to travel away. Just, yeah, and we can have a chill-ish morning then, I guess.
I know Aimee spoke about the playing in the Dexcom and everything. Like, it is a fantastic facility, and look, they put so much work into so that they'll get to host this and get a women's Six Nations game as well. So it's definitely great to see from that perspective. I know obviously it was always going to be, I suppose, home advantage regardless because it's on Irish soil, but I know you've gotten those results against Gwalia already, but look, they're coming in with, I suppose nothing to lose and everything to gain. It's knockout rugby. It's a semi-final, and they're going to want to come over here and put you under the caution and try and get that result.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you just said there about having nothing to lose. We actually spoke about that as well. For the Wolfhounds game, I feel like we felt so much pressure going into it, being like, because it was like a derby or whatever, and it was who it was against and stuff, and like there's a lot on the line in those games. And I feel like when at halftime, then we were like we've nothing to lose, then we have to go out and prove ourselves. So I feel like both teams, or 4 teams, going to come out this weekend with, because you've nothing to lose, you just have to prove yourself. So hopefully that'll give some good rugby, some good entertaining rugby, but like you said, 80 minutes of good rugby as well.
And I know, like Amy's spoken about it, like losing isn't the worst thing either for a game. So I know that result against the Wolfhounds ended up in defeat, but it's something that you can grow from and develop, and just put that performance that you can put in now in place on Saturday and try and secure a final spot in the Hive.
Yeah, like I know we lost against Wolfhounds and it did feel like a loss, but I feel like because the latter end of the game felt like we had more momentum, it doesn't feel as much of a bad loss. Like, it doesn't feel like we're coming off the back of like a bad loss, if that makes sense, because we were kind of building momentum. And so I feel like we've a lot more to give. And then training has been really good. Like, we trained against the Wolfhounds then the Tuesday after the game, which was really good because we got to compete again. And like, I just feel like the momentum's been building and building since that last game. So, you know, if that makes sense, like it doesn't feel like we don't feel deflated. Like, I feel like we're raring to going out for the next one. It was a good way to end the game.
Talk to me about your own journey, I suppose, coming from Enniscorthy to coming in to play for Belvo, Leinster, and now obviously representing the Clovers and Wolfhounds in the Celtic Challenge.
I started with Enniscorthy when I think I was like 7. I'm not sure. Like, my brother played, and so I'd go to the rugby club with him. And there was another girl, my friend, who her brother was on the boys team as well. And then my dad was like, why don't you just play? So we played with the year above him for a couple of weeks, and I didn't really get on. Like, I didn't really get on with the lads. I didn't know what I was doing. Like, but then I played with my brother's team with for minis, and I just loved it so much. And then I actually stopped playing for a couple of years, like I'm going to say 2 years after minis, because we didn't have a girls team in Enniscorthy. There was like an 18s team, but I was only like 12 or 13. And then I started playing football, and then my dad met one of the girls' moms, and she was interested in rugby, so they started up a team. And I think we actually went on to win the Leinster final then that year in our division. And then from there, like, I've just been rugby mad ever since. I played for Leinster underage for 7s and 15s, and then from there I got picked for the Ireland 7s underage, and like that was a huge thing for me. Because I was like, oh my god, I get to represent Ireland. Like, it was crazy. And I just didn't, like, at the time, like, the Irish women's, like, there was no professional contracts. So like the 7s were, but like, you didn't hear about 7s. Like, I didn't understand much like about what 7s was. Like, I knew who Amy Lee Murphy Crowe was, but that was it really. And then like coming into the HVC for the first time, like being the first team in there and stuff, it was genuinely like the craziest experience. Now looking back on that, now that like that's been my place of work and like where I've worked now for the last like 4 or 5 years, it's just crazy. But like then COVID happened, so we missed a good chunk of rugby. We played our first under 18s 15s game against Scotland, I think the week before COVID started. And we played like 3 20-minute sections against them. Like, it wasn't even a proper game. Like, it wasn't a proper squad. I think we'd train. I don't even know if we trained. Can't even remember if we trained much for it. But yeah, and then it was COVID. And then after COVID, I got called into the 7s, and I got contracted, but I only lasted a couple of months. I went to college and stuff, but then I got really bad shin splints and stress fractures in my shins, and I was out for like 13 months. I didn't come back. I lost my contract. I was told that it was too slow coming back and it wasn't going to work. And I was devastated. I was so embarrassed. Like, I was like, oh my God, my dad's going to be so disappointed in me. Like, I've thrown away this opportunity. Like, I was like, I didn't work hard enough. Like, this is all my fault. I was devastated. But I went back to club and with Belvo and Raki. I worked with Raki. She's a physio there, and I remember running laps of the pitch with Raki, and she'd run with me and talk me through it. And And my uncle did a lot of work with me. He did a lot of like physical physiotherapy work on me and like needling and stuff in my shins. And like within a couple of weeks I was back running, and I hadn't ran in like 12 months, and I couldn't believe it. And I was like, I've spent so long, because I just got set back. There was like the runs would be wrong or things like that kept happening. But then I got back and I played the semi-final with Belvo against Railway in Railway on the Saturday, and Monday morning I got a call from Greg McWilliams, and he was like, will you come in like to HBC? We've seen your game, and like we really want to we want to have you in. And I actually jumped up out of the bed, because I wasn't in college anymore. Jumped up out of the bed and I was like, I can be in 15 minutes. And I literally went in and I was like, hi everyone, I'm here. And then that's how I got my 15s contract. So yeah, like I've been in 15s now a while, and then obviously last year I went back on the series and stuff with 7s, but yeah, for now 15s is the goal. But yeah, it was a long journey. It's kind of in and out for a while, but
it's been a journey that's had a lot of ups and downs, but I suppose the moral of the story is just never give up.
No, genuinely, because like, and I always feel like, I'm like, oh my God, I've been around for ages. Like I remember when I think I was 16, Adam Griggs he brought me into like I think I was in for like a 3-day camp or something, when like, I know like junior, like Ciara Griffin, like all those girls were in. I remember Lindsay Pete, like Linda, and I was just like, I was a baby back then, like I knew nothing, like, but just looking back then, I'm like, to me that's like genuinely half a lifetime ago. But I feel like I'm still so young, and you don't realize like you still have so much time. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I'm like, I definitely, when like I got set back, and like there's so many times where like I get picked for a tournament. Like I traveled to Dubai with the 15s, and I was like, this is it, like I'm going to get my first cap. And then it didn't happen for me, and I was like, oh my God, like devastated. Is it ever going to happen to me or for me or whatever? But looking back now, I'm like, oh my God, like I'm a completely different player now. Like how did I, do you know what I mean? Like I've learned so much. Like you feel like you're so ready, but that you just have so like just, yeah, I actually have lost my point there. But basically, yeah, like I've definitely been set back loads, but it just actually does get better. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not the end of the world, and it feels like the end of the world. It feels like the end of your career. It feels like this is it now. Like I'm not going to go anywhere. But like that's genuinely not true. Like there's so much opportunity.
Because you're still a very young player as well. And you've seen, I suppose, the way that rugby has gone for you in the last while as well, and continuing the development. So I suppose it's kind of the world is your oyster at the moment. It's all about, I suppose, taking those opportunities as they come and just trying to continue your own development.
Yeah, and like I feel like I wish somebody told me when I went in at 18 that like I wish somebody told me you're not expected to be really good straight away. Do you know what I mean? Like I feel like when I went in, like I remember somebody sitting me down, and he was like, you're here right now. In like 6 months we want you to be like World Series standard. Like we want you on the World Series. And like you probably said that to everyone who was in there, all the young ones, but to me I was like, oh my God, that's so much pressure. And then when I didn't make it within the 6 months, I was like, oh my God, I'm a failure. And then when I played my first senior Leinster intros, and I only got a couple of minutes in each game, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm not going to make it. Like but I just wish somebody had told me that like you're actually, your next couple of years is for you to learn and to just absorb as much experience as you can. And I feel like that's something that I've had to come to terms with, and like, which I have now, and I'm really thankful that I have, because now every opportunity that I get, I'm like, this is just an opportunity to learn. And I can see that I am learning from all these things. And like every time that it goes wrong, I just keep telling myself, I'm like, it's just one more closer to getting it right. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like now I can deal with things and disappointment a lot better than I did, because I just didn't understand. Do you know what I mean? I was like, it's happening for everyone else. Like, why isn't it happening for me? Which I did find that hard, but I feel like I've understood that way more now. So it's just, I know that it takes time, and like you're not meant to come in at 18 years of age and be able to perform on the world stage. Like it happens for some people, because some people are just, that's the way it happens. But it doesn't happen to everyone like that, and that doesn't mean that it has to happen for you like that. So I feel like if somebody just told me that when I was 18, it would have been saved me a lot of hassle.
But I know from, watching you play with Leinster or Belvo or playing in the Celtic Challenge, like you've grown into that role, and you're putting together those performances. Now it's all about putting in the performance on Saturday, and you'll just take Saturday as it comes, and once Saturday is over, if the result goes your way, you're looking ahead to a final. So I'm sure it's all roads now to the Dexcom on Saturday, preparations and training for the next couple of days, getting everything right, and then just trying to put in that full 80 minutes.
Yeah, that's it. We were down in Limerick this morning training, and like the energy was so good. We had such good session, like, do you know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like it's just taking everything, all the experience, and just, I feel like the biggest takeaway is just to be calm. Do you know what I mean? Like if we're calm going into Saturday and we just do our jobs right, like, do you know what I mean? Things will work out for us because we've put in the work. Do you know what I mean? We just have to trust the process now, and yeah, just ready to go, I guess.
Yeah. 12 o'clock Saturday, the Clovers against the Galway Lightning, first of a double header in the Dexcom Stadium. Katie Whelan, thanks very much for coming on our Women's Rugby podcast this week, and the best of luck for the game on Saturday.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me on.
Our second semi-final on Saturday in the Dexcom in the Celtic Challenge, of course, pits the Wolfhounds against the Britton Thunder, and I'm delighted to be joined by India Daly from the Wolfhounds. Big semi-final on home soil. I'm sure delighted from the Wolfhounds perspective that it is on home soil, but I know, look, the last time against the Britton Thunder was a tough day out. The weather conditions over in Wales that day were beyond dreadful, and I'm sure a much drier day this Saturday in Galway, but looking forward to the semi-final.
Yeah, definitely. Like, it's nice to be home. I feel like we had 3 or 4 weeks away on the bounce there, so just nice to get home and hopefully have a nice dry day, because as I said last time, it was horrible weather. But yeah, we've had a good week of training so far, so hopefully that'll be good.
I know we've spoken about it on the podcast since that game, that you kind of, the 14-0 defeat was a tough one to take from the record perspective, but bounced back in emphatic fashion the week after against Galway, and then the result then against the Clovers. So while it was, I suppose, a blip on the record, it's not something that you've looked back on too much.
Yeah, look, like we have looked over the game and saw where we went wrong, and have obviously analysed Britain as well. So I think we have looked back over that game, but we've also looked forward, and we have righted the wrongs since that game. So yeah, we're looking forward to the challenge this weekend and getting a chance to right the wrongs.
It's been a very impressive campaign, to say the least, from you guys. I suppose it's kind of just been take each game as it comes, and you've put in some absolutely fantastic performances now to reach the semi-final and finish as the top seed in that group.
Yeah, it's been great. Like, I feel like all the girls have gelled really well together throughout this whole campaign, and yeah, every match we are improving, I feel like, and we've just bounced so well off each other. So I think it's great, even for the young players coming through. There's been so many players that have really stood out in this Celtic Challenge that might not have got the chance if it wasn't for it. So it's been great.
And what has, I suppose, been the last week been like, I suppose, since that last game, just, I suppose, getting the bodies right and going into the training sessions and getting everything ready now for Saturday?
Yeah, we had training last Tuesday, and then we had the rest of the week off. Just, I think, after a good few games in the bounce there, it was nice just for everyone to get the weekend off and relax, and we were back in training today. So yeah, I was just getting the bodies right and ready to go again for the semi-final this weekend.
And I'm sure, look, Britton are going to come over hungry to make the final and try and get another result over you. But I'm sure home crowd behind you, it's not going to be an easy game for them.
Yeah, I'd say they're coming over with a good bit of confidence now. They have a few wins in the bounce. They've definitely improved from what they were at the start of the tournament. But I think we have what it takes to bring it up to them, and yeah, right the wrongs, as I said before. Like, since that last game, I feel like we have even just stepped up our game. So I think, yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be a good match.
Talk to me about, I suppose, the last year, because I suppose it's been a whirlwind for you, not only with Celtic Challenge commitments, but captaining Ulster and being involved with Enniskillen in the Junior Cup, and when they were trying to get promoted into the Energia All Ireland League Women's Division. It's been an interesting last year, Phil.
Yeah, like last year I tore my ACL in like I think it was October last year, so I was sidelined basically for the full year last year until into pro. So the Enniskillen girls had a really good year, and they were in the final for promotion to AL. Unfortunately, lost at the final hurdle, and then I was asked to captain Ulster, which I was shocked but so happy to do, and I came back and played in Interpros, which is great. Like, it was really good. I think Ulster is a team that's still growing, so young, but it's great. And then I was lucky enough to get called into Celtic Challenge again, so I was really happy with that. And Enniskillen at the weekend, they actually had their Junior Cup final, and they won. And now they're in the playoffs in the next 2 weeks. So hopefully we can get a step further than last year and get up to AL, because it's a club that's definitely growing quickly.
And I know obviously they're against Tuam again, and you would have played against Tuam in that semi-final of the Junior Cup. Like, they're just they're a quality side, but look, home advantage is a great thing to have in the last four now of this promotion playoff.
Yeah, definitely. Like, when we went down to them, they're a very good team, and they never gave up the whole time. But I think definitely being at home for us is huge. It's quite a long journey down there, so it's definitely an advantage, and like, it's so nice having the support and stuff from at home. So yeah, the girls are really fired up for it now after winning the cup last weekend.
And it's certainly been great for you to see, I suppose, the growth and development of the club over the last couple of years. Like, look, you've had the highs and the lows as well. Like, you know, made it all the way to the Junior Cup final this year, just didn't go the way that you would have wanted. Obviously, you mentioned the game last year against Ennis, that was tit for tat, but see where Ennis are now. And I suppose it's, you know, the next week we'll all be, you know, preparing for that. I don't know, with Celtic Challenge commitments, if we'll see yourself or Sophie make a return in Enniskillen colours. Maybe if you make the final, we'll see what we can.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like, the club, in like, ever since I've been there, like, we've always been growing. The youth section's great, the mini girls section's great. I think since the Enniskillen women's team has restarted, like, that was only 4 years ago or so, and we've climbed up and we are the best team in our league. We're just after winning the league. And there's so many girls there that are such quality and talented players that really are ready to take the step forward into AL. I think as a team we are too. So yeah, it's amazing and just makes me so proud.
And it's ironic as well, because someone will hear you chatting away now and it's like, oh, you know, Ulster girl representing an Ulster province, representing an Ulster club. Yes, you were raised in Tralee in County Kerry and then moved up at the age of 12, and now the accent has suddenly disappeared.
Yeah, accent has very much disappeared. Yeah, was born in Limerick, grew up in Kerry, started playing rugby in Tralee, and now yeah, captain of Ulster. So yeah, wouldn't have it any other way.
Certainly a very different journey from what most players might have. But
yeah.
And as we were saying, like, imagine if Enniskillen had been drawn against Tralee, like, that would have been a real family rivalry right there.
Honestly, I think Dad would come down in his Tralee shirt and tie. But yeah, no, it would have been very different. But, you know, like, it's amazing that both clubs, like, so close to home, are doing so well in their different leagues. Like, it's amazing, and it's great for women's rugby.
I know, look, Tralee just didn't get there this year in terms of being the representative out of Munster. It's Shannon taking on Barnhall, but you know, it's a club that's constantly growing, a bit like yourselves up in Enniskillen. The program is thriving. From your own rugby perspective, like, you picked it up down in Tralee very early, and now you're you're where you are, you know, Ulster captain, representing, you know, your family and the club and Ireland in general in the Celtic Challenge. So what has it meant to you since, I suppose, the growth of your own game?
Yeah, and growing up in Tralee, I was like running around with all the boys, and I sort of like fell out of love with it when I was younger. Like, I enjoyed it, and then I fell out of love for it, and then I moved up to Enniskillen and then fell in love with it again. And yeah, the journey's been like a whirlwind. Like, I played school rugby, club rugby, and then I was called to Ulster, and I played under 18s with Ireland. And yeah, it's a bit of a mad journey, but I wouldn't have it any other way. I've made so many good friends and had such great experiences through it. So it's been great.
What was it like, I suppose, the first time kind of going up to Enniskillen? Like, you'd been, I suppose, in Tralee since early on, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now I have to go to a new school and try and play with a new club and everything like that.
Yeah, I think I was one of the girls like that I was in school. It was like, oh, would you come up to the club? And I was like, oh, I don't know, I'll see. And I went up with one of them, and it was great crack. Like, it was all, I think, the under 14 girls, and it was obviously a bit daunting, but like there's such a great bunch of girls. Like, so many of us still play together today. Like, so many of that original team that would have been together going through under 14s, under 16s, under 18s. And it's just so nice to be playing with your friends.
And it's like, who's that girl with the thick Kerry accent that's playing rugby in Fermanagh all of a sudden?
Yeah, well, that's what, as soon as I moved up to Fermanagh, the first thing that a teacher said to me, she's like, her name's India and she has the thickest Kerry accent. Like, it just, like, everyone in school was like, who is this person? Mad.
And now look at where you are.
Yeah, true.
Just the accent has changed, that the rugby has grown along with it, you know?
Definitely.
What would it, I suppose, mean for yourselves and yourself and the rest of the Wolfhounds girls now on Saturday? Look, you obviously want to make a final this year. The Celtic Challenge has been, really dominated by Irish sides over the last couple of years. We could see an all-Irish final. I suppose we are recording this on St. Patrick's Day, so we're really in this Irish team of today and talking about Ireland teams in semi-finals and so on and so forth. But I'm sure, look, this is going to be a big day out for yourselves now on Saturday, and it's all about putting the best foot forward against a Briton team that are, as we said, looking to come back and pull off another upset win against you.
Yeah, I think we're really looking forward to it. We've been analysing and seeing what their weaknesses are, and we'll just put our strengths against that. And it's so important for us as a team. As I said, we've grown so much throughout this tournament together, and we just want to do the best and put our best foot forward and just keep growing every game we do to get through to that final and just retain the cup that we had from last year too. So I think that's so important.
Well, 3 o'clock on Saturday, Dexcom Stadium against the Briton Thunder. That's when we'll see what manages to transpire. India, thanks very much for coming on our Women's Rugby podcast this week, and the best of luck for Saturday.
Thanks so much.
So that's what the two girls had to say ahead of the game on Saturday. Of course, while we're recording this early on in the week, I believe the Six Nations squad is going to be announced at some stage this week. So we'll have plenty of debate on that next week, along with all the thrills and spills for round 17. And hopefully both of the girls will have some big highlights that we can showcase next week. Hopefully Amy's still alive with us as well.
Yeah, I was like, hopefully I'll be here to record it next week. Never mind, have a highlight.
We might have a highlight as well. This might be something you want to highlight it.
The highlight of my funeral.
The rivalries. We love them. But that's it for another episode of our Women's Rugby podcast here on FinalWhistle.ie. My thanks to Aimee and Stacy for joining us once again, and we hope everyone enjoyed their St. Patrick's Day. And if you're listening to this with a sore head the following morning, we do apologise for having rambled on for quite a bit of time about all things rugby, but that's what we tend to do over here. But hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll catch you next week.